Hello everyone, this is the Global Agricultural Market Analysis newsletter for the first week, from August 28 to September 1, 2017, this is Beverage Market News 1 Coffee News. Tight Robusta supplies to secure large spot premium, Rabobank. The Robusta coffee futures curve could witness steep backwardation, thanks to tight supplies, Rabobank said, even as it cut its forecast for the overall world coffee output deficit in 2017 to 18. With stocks of Robusta available for delivery against London Robusta futures in decline too, down some 5% over the past month according to ICE exchange data. September Robusta coffee futures stood at $2,128 a ton on Friday, up 0.8% on the day, and at a premium of $37 a ton to the November contract. Cocoa prices steady after ICCO forecast update. London traded cocoa futures have relinquished their early morning gains and now sit 0.2% lower at £1,519 sterling a ton. This, after the International Cocoa Organization released updated forecasts for global supply in 2016/17 late Thursday, trimming its forecast for global surplus to 371,000 tons from 382,000 tons. That revision includes an uptick in forecast 2016/17 cocoa grindings, which the ICCO increases by 0.02 million tons to 4.28 million, which would constitute a 3.7% increase on the previous October-September season. Asia, Oceania, and Africa are key drivers of those higher grinding forecasts, the ICCO says. The body also ups its expectations for global production by 8,000 tons to 4.7 million tons, constituting an 18.1% year-on-year increase, and for the Ivory Coast to 2.01 million tons. That would see year-on-year growth of 27.2% for the Ivorian crop. Kenyan Arabica coffee prices rise 8.8% at auction. Kenyan Arabica coffee prices rose by an average of 8.8% at this week's auction, the Nairobi Coffee Exchange said Tuesday. The average price across all grades was $226.50 for a 50 kilogram, 110-pound, bag, compared with $208.10 at the previous auction on August 22, although the prices of some individual grades were lower. At this week's auction, 12,350 50-kilogram bags were offered, up from 11,640 bags at the previous sale. Below are prices in US dollars for a 50-kilogram bag of each of the main grades of coffee. Funds edge back from Robusta coffee net long stance. Money managers marginally cut their net long position on Robusta coffee in the week ending August 22, according to market data released by ICE, Monday. The latest data show a 0.6% net long position contraction to 20,640 lots, continuing the reversal of the movement seen over recent weeks. On the futures market, Robusta prices rose 4.9% in the period, with prices having remained stuck in a narrow range in recent weeks thanks to what observers are calling a summer lull. On the New York traded Arabica coffee market, funds returned to net short positioning after a brief move into net long territory. The previous week's 285 lot long position turned into a 14,341 lot net short position. Arabica prices fell 2.3% in the same week, unwinding from its recent rallies. London traded Robusta was last 0.23% down at $2,145 a ton. New York Arabica is down 0.49% at $1.31 a pound. Ethiopia coffee crop defies drought, exports surge. Ethiopia's coffee exports are on the rise, defying 2 years of back-to-back droughts that have threatened the crop across Africa's largest Arabica coffee grower, says Ethiopia's state coffee and tea regulator. Shipments in the 2016-17 fiscal year jumped 14% to 225,490 tons, the highest export volumes in 3 years. After suffering the worst El Niño-fueled drought in 50 years last year, Ethiopia's southern regions are suffering from a second successive drought, leaving 8.5 million people in Africa's second most populous nation in need of food aid, according to the UN. The U.S. Department of Agriculture Bureau in Addis Ababa says the impact of the drought on coffee remains negligible, and output could jump 4% this season. Cocoa news. ICCO trims 2016/17 global cocoa surplus to 371,000 t. The International Cocoa Organization, ICCO, on Thursday trimmed its forecast for the global cocoa surplus in the 2016/17 season, reflecting stronger than expected growth in grindings. The intergovernmental body put the surplus at 371,000 tons, down from a previous projection of 382,000 tons, but still slightly above the median forecast in a Reuters poll issued in late July of 350,000 tons. Ivorian cocoa arrivals seen at 1,954,000 t by August 27, exporters. Cocoa arrivals at ports in top grower Ivory Coast reached around 1,954,000 tons by August 27 since the start of the season on October 1, exporters estimated on Monday, up from 1,453,000 tons in the same period of the previous season. Exporters estimated that around 7,000 tons of beans were delivered to the port of Abidjan and another 7,000 tons to San Pedro for a total of 14,000 tons delivered between August 21 and 27. That compares with 4,000 tons during the same period last season. Cameroon port's cocoa price rises amid harvest lull. Exporters at Cameroon's main port of Douala paid slightly more for cocoa beans on week, owing to low crop supplies prompted by output recess, traders and exporters told Dow Jones Newswires on Tuesday. A kilogram of cocoa sold for 1,010 Central African francs, $1.85, per kilogram of cocoa beans, 3.9% up from XAF 972/kg paid for the crop in the last 2 weeks. Figures sent to Dow Jones by the West African nation's Cocoa and Coffee Board showed Tuesday Indonesia to keep export taxes for cocoa, palm oil at zero in September. Indonesia will maintain export taxes for cocoa beans and crude palm oil at zero for September, the Trade Ministry said on Tuesday. The cocoa bean export tax will be set at zero for a fourth month. For crude palm oil, it is the fifth at zero. August 29. Ivory Coast rain, sun boost prospects for cocoa main crop. Abundant rain mixed with sunny spells last week in most of Ivory Coast's main cocoa growing regions boosted prospects for the upcoming main crop in the world's top producer, farmers said on Monday. The harvest for the October to March crop is expected to start early, in mid-September, and if good weather continues it will last until at least December, farmers said. Sugar news. Brazilian mills cut sugar production, boost ethanol output. Brazilian mills reduced the amount of cane they use to produce sugar in the first half of August, increasing the use of the raw material for ethanol production as demand and prices for the biofuel improved, cane industry group Unica said on Monday. Mills in Brazil's center-south region, the country's main cane belt, earmarked 50.04% of cane in the first half of August to sugar production, the smallest share in the last 2 months. Tea news. 37% of Brits aged 25 to 34 drink 5 to 6 different tea according to study of Mintel. 37% of Brits aged 25 to 34 have drunk 5 to 6 different types of tea at home or in the workplace over the past month. And while younger Brits are the most likely to have an adventurous taste for tea, they are also the most likely to want to turn to tea to satisfy their sweet tooth. Consumers aged 25 to 34 have the widest repertoire of tea, which is reflective of this age group typically having a more adventurous attitude towards food and drink, with a greater tendency to seek out new foods and flavors to try. 2 in 5, 40%. Brits aged between 16 and 34 who drink tea or other hot drinks say that they'd be interested in knowing more about how to pair tea with savory food. However, there have been moves to spark interest around the latter beginning to emerge in the West. Sales of tea fell by 5% in 2016 to 77 million kilograms, while the market is estimated to steep by a further 3% in 2017 to 75 million kilograms. Thank you for listening. If you find it useful, please subscribe and share. Support for the channel. See you next.